Hi, I'm Ariel Loiter. I'm 20 years old and I'm currently a freshman at SMU pursuing a psychology degree. I'm mixed. I'm Singaporean Israeli, so my dad's side is from Israel, my mom's side is from Singapore. I was born here, but at 6 months, my whole family, we moved to Israel. And we stayed there till I was around 9 years old. So I got introduced to basketball while I was living there when I was 8. So at that time, I did a lot of sports. I did swimming, tennis, horse riding. I played the piano, played the violin, I did school dance. And then my first coach, his name was Ziverez. He came to my school to just promote his basketball club. And yeah, so he just gave out flyers and I came to the training session. And I mean, I didn't know much about basketball. My dad was a fan of basketball, but I just watched it. I didn't really know much, or I didn't play much myself. But yeah, ever since then, I just fell in love with it. From the very first training, I just I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it was kind of I found a new way to express myself from the very first session. So as I mentioned, when I came to Singapore, I didn't know English. So I had to go to overseas family school first, and I joined their English second language program to learn English. And so I played for the school. I also played on the weekends in the CBL. So I played on the weekends and then I was just trained during the week. So I attended OFS for a year. After that, I was training with a coach. Her name was Cindy. I was training with her and she introduced me to the local system and the local scene in Singapore, basketball-wise. And that's when I was introduced to Nanyang Girls High. I wanted to go to that school. We found out that in order for me to be able to attend a local secondary school, I had to first attend a local primary school, which is when I moved to Raffles Girls Primary School for primary 5 and primary 6. So yeah, I played there for 2 years and I went to school there. And I did get a DSA for Nanyang. However, after I graduated from Raffles Girls, I decided that I wanted to pursue playing college basketball in the US. So I decided to, instead of attending Nanyang, to attend Singapore American School so that I could go during summer breaks and other school holidays to go to the US and get exposed to the basketball scene in the US and show myself to college coaches. My third year at SAS, I was in 10th grade, I was 15 at that time. I was selected to represent Singapore in FIBA Asia and the SEA Games, so that was a very unreal experience, especially as a 15-year-old at that age. But it was an honor just to be able to wear my flag across my chest and just be exposed to international basketball. That was my first international basketball tournament. Alongside that, I also joined Hillcrest Grays when I was 13. So I've been playing for them since with their women's team. So fast forward, after 10th grade, kind of felt like I reached the ceiling in Singapore in terms of how much more exposure I can get and show college coaches, and many of them asked me to come to the US so they can see me play live. And that's when I decided to go to IMG Academy in Florida. During the summer of 11th and 10th grade, I played summer basketball in the US for DME travel. So we just traveled around the US and we played weekend tournaments. And in those weekend tournaments, it's kind of where you're exposed to almost all college coaches. Yeah, so you just play two, 3 games a day, and then you have coaches just scouting you. And I already had schools looking at me, multiple schools looking at me, so that was also the opportunity to come watch me and also get exposed to and also be seen by new college coaches. And that's actually when I was introduced to Colgate. That was one of the offers I got. Yeah, so during that summer, I went to 3 elite camps. I was on to 3 elite camps: University of Pennsylvania, Colgate, and American University. Colgate, it was mainly I already had the offer from them, so it was mainly me to see the school, meet the team, meet the coaches. And before going to campus, I already was talking to the coach quite often. I mean, we'll have conversations once, twice a week. Yeah, so we formed a very strong bond. And at that time I came to campus and I love the whole environment, like of the team, of the coaches, and I felt like really bonded to the coaches. I really felt like he could be my second home because I was away from home. So I felt very comfortable there that time. So that weekend that I went to, those 3 camps, after the 3rd camp, I committed to Colgate. I committed in June. Summer ball only ends around August. So I kept playing, and then senior year of high school, and then COVID happened. My family at the time relocated to Thailand, to Bangkok, due to my mom's job. So I was there. IMG closed down in March due to COVID. So I was there for the summer, and then came to Colgate. First year was tough because, first of all, COVID. So a lot of restrictions. I didn't see my family for a year because visitors were not allowed on campus. And I wasn't able to go home because it's too far of a trip. So I was on campus a few times. Even when my teammates left back home, I was by myself on campus. So that was definitely tough, especially in a place that it was kind of foreign to me. Also, the season was cut short because of COVID. We were only able to play conference play, meaning we only played around, like NCAA basketball, there's different conferences. So we were in the Patriot League conference, so we only played against teams in the Patriot League rather than also playing teams in other conferences. Is what you usually do the first half of the season, second half you play conference. So we only played conference. And also our team went through a lot of injuries. So by the end of the season, we only were left with 3 healthy players, which resulted us in having to cut the season even shorter. So we only played like 10 games that season. I was the only international player on the team, so that was tough too in terms of, I felt a little isolated because I felt like I was trying to fit into like an American, which I'm not. I mean, I was still embracing who I am, and I didn't feel like I was very accepted about that. They didn't really accept me for like who I am. They always tried to like shift me into their culture. So after my 2nd year, I still felt somewhat unwelcomed in a way, and it was definitely tough being away from home while all this was happening and not being able to see my family. So I've discussed with my parents that it would be better if I come back to Singapore and attend university here, because I realized that my dream of playing NCAA, it wasn't what I thought it would be. It wasn't as nicely painted like it is on the outside when you experience it on the inside. But I definitely learned a lot from it. Even though it wasn't the best experience, it was at the same time because I learned a lot about myself as an individual and as a player. When I was in Colgate, I kind of lost my love for basketball because of the circumstances I was in, and it really made me like reluctant to come to training and be with that team environment. So something that I felt like I used to express myself to be like an escape from everything, something that became my stress of the day. So I decided that like, why be in a place that I'm so unhappy, where I can be here, where I'm a lot happy, I'm with family, I can still play basketball, I have a great team here in Hillcrest that I could become my family. So why not come back to that where I'm happier, which I think that's something that's the most important thing, be happy and where you're at. So yeah, so I decided to come back. I learned a lot about myself as a basketball player. I gained that love back when I came back, and also in Colgate, that's when I discovered my love for psychology, which is what I'm pursuing now as a degree. I went through quite a few mental health issues due to everything that happened in Colgate, so I learned how to deal with it, and also I learned to just be more aware of it, and it influenced me to want to help others and deal with that, with mental health and that stigma of like, if you go to therapy, like there's something wrong with you. Like, no, it's like your brain is like a muscle. So it's like you go to the gym. You don't go to the gym because you're unfit. You go to the gym even when you're healthy. Same thing, you can go to therapy even when you're healthy. You can always get better. Your brain is a muscle too. It can always get better and stronger, and you can always wire it to be better for your situation. So yeah, so that's when I decided to also pursue psychology, and that's when I found my love for psychology, which was definitely new for me because when my whole life it was just basketball, basketball, basketball. So like seeing another passion that I have all of a sudden was very eye-opening. So yeah, so now I'm back in Singapore. I came back 6 months ago, and I'm currently attending SMU, pursuing psychology. Yeah, and I'm still playing. I'm playing for Hillcrest as I was since 13 years old. I'm playing for the SMU team, and then I did train with the national team, but I came too late to join the SEA Games. So I did train with them, but I'm playing for the under 23 3-on-3 team, the national team. In terms of basketball as a whole, I really learned to appreciate the process of training and really like putting in work and see that pay off in games. In terms of the game itself, I enjoyed the adversity you go through in every game, because you can prepare for games, but you don't know what's going to happen in a game until you play. So I do enjoy experiencing different adversities, different situations in games, and learning to use what I do in training and apply that to games, and seeing that pay off, seeing the work that I put in, like the unseen hours, seeing that pay off in a game is very rewarding. Yeah. When I was younger, my dad was the one that helped me set goals for myself. He was never the one that would set the goals for me, but he would always ask me questions that will help me figure my goals out for myself, what I want for myself. And as I grew older, I learned to do that for myself, and I learned to form my own opinions and passions and what I want for myself as an individual and as a basketball player. And I think living on my own, when I was in the US, I was by myself throughout the 4 years. That definitely helped me grow in terms of whether it's setting daily goals of what I want to achieve that day, or setting future goals, what I want to achieve, what I want for myself. So I think that was when I kind of broke away from that guidance that my dad gave me, which I'm very grateful. I wouldn't have the mindset that I have today, and being able to set such ambitious goals for myself today if it wasn't for my dad. He was the one that kind of pushed me to always go for more, and when I reach a goal, to aim even higher, to never settle. That's when I moved to the US, that's when I was able to kind of apply what my dad taught me and use that for myself, and kind of let go of that hand he was holding. So I would say when I was younger that he was the one that helped me set those goals, but I think I was always able to remind myself that from a young age, he always reminded me that yes, I have this goal, but I can't look at it as in a destination. I have to look at the process. Every day, do something that will help me get a step closer to that goal, and that's what kept me driven. I learned to just enjoy that process, to not be so focused on what's going to happen in the future, but just enjoy the now and enjoy that every day I'm doing something to get better. Every day I get the opportunity to do what I love, to play basketball. Yeah, just to grow. I would say Colgate was my biggest one. Well, not the biggest one, one of the biggest ones. Yeah, it was definitely a breaking point for me. I really disliked basketball at that time. It gave me so much stress, which I didn't expect. So I did kind of lose myself at that time. I kind of lost myself in my identity, because basketball is all I knew. And then suddenly, it's something that I disliked. I was in somewhat of a disbelief that I could get to that point. But also, it taught me that basketball is just what I do and what I enjoy and my passion, but it's not who I am, which is something that I got mixed up. I realized that I got mixed up before that. I always thought I am a basketball player. This is my personality, this is who I am, but it's not, it's just what I do. I am more than that. I am a human. I'm not just, and I'm an athlete second. So that was a big breaking point for me. I would say definitely in the past, when I played in the SEA Games, that was a big breaking point for me as well. It was my first international event representing Singapore, so that whole experience was just surreal. It was such an honor to do that at such a young age, and I would definitely love to do it again. I think if I'll do it again, I'll definitely have a different experience. I'm a lot older, a lot more mature, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that was an amazing experience. I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity. Another one, definitely coming to the US from the very beginning. When I first came to IMG, I was by myself for the first time. But yeah, so there were many times where I would have little bumps in the way, and yeah, I could call my dad and be like, help me out, but I knew like this is how I build my independence. This is as a woman, but also as a player and as a woman, just being able to fight through things by myself and grow stronger from every setback. So those two, and yeah, like I said, Colgate was a big stepping stone for me. And I would say it was the biggest one because I learned a lot of myself as a person too. In the past, the SEA Games and IMG, I learned a lot of myself more as a basketball player. Yes, I feel like I always grow as a person, but mainly as a basketball player. But Colgate was a big one, as I learned kind of to separate my existence from like basketball, knowing that it's two different things, and it does not define who I am. It's just something that I'm really I'm really passionate about. I mean, I do lift weights, but not as a sport. It's just to help me with my basketball performance. But especially now because I'm injured, it helped me appreciate it more. Before that, I did lift weights, but it was always like, okay, basketball training, that's that. But I really learned to appreciate and value the importance of weight training and taking care of your body and how that influences your basketball performance. Besides that, I mean, I do coach part-time at Perform, so I do that. It's also around basketball. Yeah, but besides that, I mean, especially after being away for so long, I've really learned to value the friendships that I have, my family a lot more. So in my free time, I will usually spend time with them, with friends and family. Yeah, being away from them really makes you appreciate them a lot more and value the time with them. So I want to spend as much time with them as I can. I think I learned to manage my time better a lot more when I was on my own in the US. So I use that now. Just being able, just having everything out and like put everything on the table, like, okay, this time just like what I'm gonna do. This time I'm gonna do this, and this time I'm gonna do that. But I mean, there's always gonna be a sacrifice. There's always some days I'm gonna be more focused on school. Some days I'm gonna be more focused on my family and friends. Some days I'll be more focused on basketball. I've learned to accept that from a very young age, that I need to make sacrifices to achieve something. Which, yeah, I mean, I've done it since young. Like when I was younger, I had no social life like at all. I would you'll go from training to school to training again to homework, and then just repeat that whole process every single day. I just try and find a balance in everything, and that's something I've learned after Colgate. I will always do what makes me happy. I will never force myself to do something that I feel uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable. It's something that won't make me happy. Like I learn to treasure every moment now and treasure it for what it is, living in the present. I just learned to manage my time better. By putting everything on the table, and I look at like weeks as a whole and be like, what's my focus for this week? Then what's my focus for every day? And then I'll just, based on that, I would arrange my day. I do look up to Sue Bird. I think our playing style are very similar. She's shorter in the league, so it's like she kind of just taught me that really it's like heart over height. Height isn't everything for basketball, which I think it's a very big misconception. So she was the one that taught me that it can be done. Well, I would love to represent Singapore again in the SEA Games of FIBA. If I had the opportunity, I would definitely love, obviously, WNBA to play there. I would definitely love to play in Europe or Australia if I get the opportunity. I've learned to really appreciate European basketball just because it's a lot more team-oriented, and it's a lot more like you do what's best for the team and you do whatever you can to help the team. It's not as individualistic as other places. Right now, I'm just looking forward to play for Hillcrest again in the national team and SMU. I would definitely love if the opportunity came to play pro somewhere in the future, but right now I'm just here focusing on school and then playing for the teams that I play for.
Number 22.
Playing pro is still something that I really want to do and would love if the opportunity came up. But yeah, now I'm just enjoying the game for what it is, and yeah, just being happy that I get an opportunity to play with people that I love and with great teams. Yeah, so just loving the game for what it is and just keep working on myself as a player and keep growing. But yeah, I mean, I would love if the opportunity came up to play pro one day. I would definitely take it if that comes up. I mean, just keep working. I mean, hard work does really pay off, and there's no need to compare yourself to other people and their journey. Everyone's journey is different, and everyone will go through different things to lead them to where they want to be. So yeah, just trust the process and the work you put in, and don't doubt yourself. Don't let other people from the outside doubt you. Don't let that get to you. And everything does happen for a reason. So everything that happens to you, it's just to help you grow, whether that's as a player or as a person. So yeah, so just keep working at it, and no dream is too big, as long as you work for it. Hi, I'm Ariel Loiter. I'm 20 years old. Watch me play.